All right, it is time to huddle up. We're coming to you live from Sawyer Park up here in the Woodlands, Texas. Great happy hour crowd here. Bob Slovak with you. This is Huddle Up with Bob Slovak and the consummate pro, Jason Alexander. Jason zooming in from his full-time job as the head golf professional at Carlton Woods. Jason, are you there?
I'm here, Bob. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm telling you, we got it locked and loaded out here at Carlton Woods. Men's night for our member guests. Holy moly, I'm going to pan out here. We've got football, armadillo races coming. We're going to gamble on the football game, the GOAT versus Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you what, can't have fun tonight. You just can't have fun.
Oh, man, good time. And the weather kind of held off a little bit. You could get some golf in. All right, so we're going to talk about Astros, Red Sox. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened in the White Sox game. We're going to talk Texans, Colts, and we're going to talk college football with Sam Kahn from The Athletic. Man, he's tied in with the Aggies. He's tied in with UT. Find out what's going on with both of those programs as we move forward. But, Jason, man, your thoughts, first of all, Astros, Red Sox. What are you thinking?
Well, it appears that we weren't stealing signs after all in Game 3, Bob. That's what I have to say about that, right, along with the rest of the Houstonians. We dropped the hammer. It was a mic drop moment for the Stros. And I think everybody's pretty excited. And look, getting home field advantage back after the Sox upset the Rays. And I didn't want to go to Tampa. Bob, I don't know about you. I didn't want to go down to Tampa.
I've covered.
The Sox can come on down to Houston.
I know, and I've covered games in St. Petersburg there and that dome they have there. And for some reason, the Astros got a little bit of a jinx on them when they go up there and play. So, yeah, I wasn't looking forward to any kind of a Tampa-Houston matchup. So, yeah, bring on the Red Sox. The Astros 5-2. 5-2 against the Red Sox during the regular season. What a storyline, though, Jason. You've got the Astros against Alex Cora, both caught up in the sign stealing scandal. Alex Cora, one of the guys, I guess, who started it. But now you got them matched up here, and it's interesting to see what the national media is going to say and how the fans are going to respond.
Well, social media, it's going to explode. I guarantee you Cora's going to hear some cat calls in Houston, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'd be kind of sweet justice for us to eliminate the Sox and go to the World Series. What do you think?
I think so too, and I think they are the favorite to head back to the World Series. Can they beat the Dodgers? Can they beat the Giants? We'll find out who wins that game tonight. The big story of the day, Jason. Let me get your thoughts because we got Jeff Blum coming up in the second segment here. Astros TV announcer. Lance McCullers Jr. left the game in the fourth inning in Game 4 against the White Sox, had forearm stiffness, had an MRI done. There's some reports out there saying he's done for the playoffs. The Astros are slow playing it. They want to get a second opinion and more examinations. I asked Blummer, and we'll hear from him in a minute, can they still beat the Red Sox without McCullers if that is the case? And he reminded me, the Astros went 5-2 in the regular season against the Red Sox. McCullers didn't pitch any of the games.
He didn't pitch any of the games. I was thinking the same thing, and I tell you, I think we have a great chance. Our lineup's better. We're just deeper, Bob. And if we need to replace Lance, he's going to be some big shoes to fill, as they say. But we can do it. I expect us to average about 6.5 to 8 runs in the series. And if we do that, we're going to punch our ticket. Yeah,
I think so too. And I think the wild card in all of this is going to be Zach Greinke. I mean, Greinke was going to come out of the bullpen, but if McCullers can't go, I think Greinke's going to step up. That's going to be one of the things.
Can we get Greinke to just go forward? He doesn't have to pitch 7 or 8 innings. Can we just get a couple of quality starts, get 4.5 out of him, and go on down the road and see if we can steal one with Zach on the mound? I think that'd replace Lance just fine.
I think it would, and if you just go through the order twice against the Red Sox, I think he'll be good. I know you got a lot going on out there tonight, Jason, so I'll let you go, but we've got your pros picks coming up in about 20 minutes, so stay tuned for that. We'll recap what happened last week with the pro, but we know he can make you some money. So, Jason, man, we'll see you in a little bit.
And, hey, make sure it's 9 pros picks. We're going to add some this week. I want to punch that right pedal, Bob. 9 picks.
All right, 9 picks coming up. College and pros coming up here in about 20 minutes here on Huddle Up. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Jeff Blum, the former Astro, the Astros TV announcer. Always entertaining, always insightful. Find out how the Blummer thinks this Astros-Red Sox matchup is going to stack up. We'll be right back here live at Sawyer Park right after this.
All right, team, your favorite pro here. Now, look, we all know our Huddle Up fans now. We like our cars, but we also want a hometown discount, too. And lucky for us, all we need to do is make a short drive up I-45 North to Cowboy Kia, and lucky for us today,
here out there, Webb. There's Jason Huddle Up.
We've got Mark Compton and Mark Webb here with us to tell a little bit more about Cowboy Kia.
Welcome. Hey, this is Mark Compton at Cowboy Kia. I got a few things for you. They need to come in, bring a friend, shake a hand, make a deal. But I got $500 off for Huddle Up.
Huddle Up.
Huddle Up. Huddle Up. Jason Alexander, $500 off. Black's House Service, Blue Jean Friendly.
That a baby. Now look, we've got the best in used and new cars here at Cowboy Kia.
Cowboy, baby.
Mark Webb's going to give you 2 free college football winners. Mark Compton's going to give you the best deal in town. Come visit him today.
All right, we're back here live at Sawyer Park in the Woodlands, a beautiful ice house, indoor, outdoor, all indoors today. A little bit of the rainy weather outside. Bob Slovak, you're watching Huddle Up with Bob Slovak and the Consummate Pro. So we've got it we're breaking it down for you. And, of course, the big story right now, Astros moving on to the American League Championship Series for the 5th year in a row. Only the third team ever in the history of Major League Baseball to make 5 straight American League Championship Series. They're looking to punch their ticket back to the World Series for the 3rd time. What a run it's been for the Astros. Taking on the Red Sox in the American League Championship Series. Game number 1 tomorrow night at Minute Maid Park. I'm going to be there. I had to get tickets for it. It's going to be incredible. So let's check in now with Jeff Blum, 14-year Major League vet, played 5 years with the Astros. I really enjoyed covering him when he was with the Astros. Talked to Jeff earlier today. Of course, the big news was Lance McCullers. We didn't know exactly what was happening, but Lance is being reevaluated. They're going to let us know what's going on, but it doesn't look promising, but we'll see what happens. Here's my interview with Jeff Blum, the Blummer, from earlier this afternoon.
All right, Astros TV analyst Jeff Blum joining us now. Jeff, thanks for being with us. First of all, let's start off first of all with let's talk about what the run the Astros have been on. Put in context what it means to make 5 straight American League Championship Series.
Good to see you, Bob. It's good to be on and have some fun talking some Astros baseball because it has been pretty amazing. This run that they have been on. And you mentioned 5 straight American League Championship Series. And to try and put that in context, during our broadcast throughout the course of the year, we continue to compare the current Astros team or dynasty or golden era, whatever you want to call it, to a lot of teams in the history of the game. And to that point about the 5 straight ALCSs, I think there's only 2 other teams that have accomplished that feat within their league. And I think it was the Atlanta Braves in that mid to late 90s, the run that they had, and then the New York Yankees, I believe, in the 50s. I'm not 100% sure on that, but only 2 teams in the history of the game, and now 3 if you count the Astros.
Yeah, I believe the second one's the Oakland A's back in the early 70s.
Oh, yeah, the 70s. I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
They won 3 straight World Series. So, yeah, those teams are incredible. But, yeah.
What's different about that, too, is that the Astros have to play in a division series. A lot of those teams, like the A's, didn't have to play in that division series.
True.
They went straight to the CS.
I know that back in the old days, it was a lot easier path to the World Series. So, they're on this roll again. And the big news of today is Lance McCullers left the game 4 against the White Sox with tightness in the forearm. We don't know for sure what's going on yet. We may by the time this goes on, and we'll just add to it. But say he can't go against the Red Sox. How does the Astros pitching stack up?
That's what's going to be interesting. And I'm not sure, we know that when they went into the division series, it's a compact 5-game series. So you can adjust your roster accordingly. You may leave off some starting pitchers, a la Zach Greinke, Jake Odorizzi. So there are some options in that rotation that Dusty and James Click, Brent Strom, they're all going to have to sit down and brainstorm about who they're going to move back into that rotation if that's the case with Lance McCullers not being able to go in that championship series. So you've got Framber Valdez, you've got Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy, Zach Greinke, Jake Odorizzi. You have some options within that group to try and cover some innings, but I think it's going to be a little more creative what you do with the back end of that bullpen because you're removing a guy from Zach Greinke out of that bullpen. Who do you replace in that bullpen with him? But if your starters it can give you 5 innings, I think that really benefits the Astros for obvious reasons. It backs up that bullpen, and you also have to take into consideration that these series take into account travel days. So there's some built-in days off that allow you to get some rest if you have to put some pressure on guys in the bullpen, pitch them on back-to-back days. and try and cover a lot of innings. So I think what Dusty's doing right now is probably counting backwards in some of these games, saying who's going to cover these innings. But just a quick point about losing Lance McCullers possibly in this championship series. During the regular season, the Astros were 5-2 against the Boston Red Sox. Guess who did not pitch in that series at all? Lance McCullers.
I'm glad you brought that up. So fans need to realize this. I just saw somebody tweet out a while ago. You're looking at possible 14 games should they go 7-7 into the World Series. He can only pitch 4 of them anyway. So I'm like, that's good optimism right there. But what you just said adds to it as well. They were 5-2 and he didn't pitch any of those games. Hopefully he'll be okay. We'll find out more as the day progresses. Man, how about the fact that the Astros are just crushing the haters? Man, let everybody hate on them because they just crush them. It just pumps them up even more.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. Having been around these guys, one of the first questions I had when we were actually able to get on the field and get next to them, I was going, how do you guys handle all this? And, I asked a guy like Alex Bregman, who's already got a chip on his shoulder, who I love to death. He's like, let them say what they want. We're going to go play baseball. I'm going to put up the numbers I put up. Carlos is going to do what he does. We're going to do what we do. So, that's one aspect. And then I go over and, I'll ask a guy like Kyle Tucker or Dave Myers, and I'm like, what's it like being on the road knowing that everybody hates you guys? And they just start laughing. They're like, it's kind of funny. They kind of take it out of context, put it on us. We don't care. We didn't do anything with it, so we go out and play. But there's a certain ego within a ball player and any athlete, I'm sure, when they go on the road and you start to hear the boos, no matter what they're there for, you love shutting them up. And I tell you what, I've never seen a ball club flip that switch better than the Houston Astros, and they've really embraced it.
They certainly have, and nobody more than Carlos Correa. Carlos, he is a clutch hitter, and for a guy who's going to get a new contract, whether it's with the Astros or somebody else, every time he goes to the plate, that cash register just rings again. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. We knew he was a special talent when we watched him, and that's probably the hardest part between George Springer and Carlos Correa is knowing that we watched these guys, become a part of the Astros system, develop. We were encouraged by what they were doing in the minor leagues. Then they get to the big leagues and have the impact that they do. And we watch a guy like Carlos Correa really kind of develop into that leadership role and not just be that guy who leads with talent and what he does on the field statistically. He leads with the ability to be able to communicate to these guys. So his value, not just outside of Houston, but really within the Houston Astros clubhouse has been exponential. And, I know that it's an astronomical number, pardon the pun, but he's worth every penny of it for me.
Yeah, you usually see somebody, he's vocal. He's also proves it on the field. You usually see that more in football. That's what struck me about Correa. I'm like, man, he's almost like a football player out there pumping everybody up and kind of keeping everybody on the same page. And I love that about the guy. I just do.
You love that about him because 162 game schedule, that's hard to keep engaged.
Yes.
He's the one guy that really keeps everybody engaged.
Yeah, we'll see what that number, you said it, astronomical. Some people are saying he could be the first $400 million player. He may very well be. That's a big number, but he's proved it this year. We'll see where it goes. We see where it goes. And man, I hope the Astros make an offer that will, open his eyes. Let's just say. All right. How about Alex Cora coming back to take on his team after everything that's happened over the last 3 years?
Well, I'm actually kind of curious to see how the media covers this series because before when the Astros
I think I lost you.
2017 creeps up and they say, well, there's an obvious scar on the Houston Astros and their legacy. Wouldn't it be great to see them knocked off? And now here we are, the Astros are facing a team with a guy who's running that team who was an integral part of the sign stealing scandal. So I'm really kind of curious to see how not only the media handles it, I'm curious to see how the Houston Astro fans handle it because on social media in other ballparks, Astro fans have been berated, yelled at, eviscerated for numerous things for being loyal to their team. And now here they actually have a chance to voice their opinion in their home ballpark. So I'm intrigued by it. I hope it doesn't become a part of the series because I think it really takes away from the talent that is actually on the field because that was 4 years ago. There's a handful of guys on the Astros currently that were involved with that. But, it's interesting to hear the comments from Astro players and from Alex Cora, because there is really a mutual respect between both entities because of how hard they really know that they worked and earned that championship. So I think that they want to kind of regain that respect and regain the idea that this is about the game on the field as it stands, not what happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah, only 5 players remain from 2017 from the World Series team, but they're the 5 main players. That's why it's still out there. I mean, everybody else just has to take the abuse, I guess. But all right, how about the matchup? So you got the Red Sox coming in. They got more left-handed hitters than the White Sox had. So how's that going to play into? Because it's going to be, I think, a little bit more strategy played in on this one.
Yeah, and that's where a guy like Jose Urquidy kind of jumps in for me. We know what Lance McCullers can do when he's healthy. He's got the great curveball. It's wipeout against both sides of the plate. We'll just either put him at the top or we'll put him on the back burner for the time being. But if you go through that rotation, Jose Urquidy's a guy that jumps out to me. He's really a guy with his changeup being his best secondary pitch, is a guy who matches up well against left-handed pitching. So I think he would be an easy insertion into that 2-3 spot as far as the rotation's concerned. Obviously, Framber Valdez, being a left-handed pitcher with that wipeout curveball, is a guy who can go out there and really neutralize good left-handed hitting. So there's 2 guys out of your rotation right there. But the wild card's going to be Luis Garcia. He hasn't really shown that he has those pitches that can get rid of left-handed pitching. He's tried to develop a changeup and he's tried to get that cutter in on the hands. He's just been very inconsistent with it. Is Jake Odorizzi going to be the guy with his split when it's effective? Can he get left-handed hitters out? And then the veteran Zach Greinke, is he going to be lengthened out enough to be able to give some innings to Dusty Baker? So I think there's some interesting pieces there to be able to develop. I know that Brooks Raley, Blake Taylor have been good left-handed pitchers out of the bullpen, but don't discount what a guy like Ryan Stanek can do with his high velocity and his split finger. He's great on both sides of the plate. And then another guy might be Phil Maton. I think that his numbers are kind of sneaky in the sense that he's got late life on his fastball and his curveball plays well against some left-handed hitters.
Yeah, I've liked his last 2 outings for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Baker, sometimes he gets a little flack and everything, but I like the job he's done. And I like the way he approaches everything.
Yeah, you know what? He was put in a tough spot coming over here in 2020, and I think it was, he got fed some of the information in roster spots by fire hose. But I had a chance to talk to him when he first got the job on radio, and we interviewed him. And first thing he said is, he goes, "Hey, I got the keys to the Ferrari." So I think that's what he understood, that he had a great ball club, and it was just a matter of keeping that pedal down. And how do you motivate these guys to continue to go? And for whatever reason, he's connected with these guys. He's figured them out, and I think. You also, as a player, you have to learn the tendencies of your manager. And once you get comfortable with those tendencies, you can be a little more prepared for situations you're going to find yourself in. And I think that's where the Astros are too. Granted, 1 through 9 in that lineup, Dusty can go ahead and photocopy that lineup and just print out the next 15 days, and you know who it's going to be. It's just a matter of how he works that bullpen and that starting rotation. So I think the guys have become comfortable with him. And I think, some of those pressers he does, and where he pops off a little bit and shows a little bit of that edge that maybe players can't, I think the players appreciate that.
Yeah, they like that he has their back. And I liked him when he first got here because he's an old rock and roll guy, and I talked about Jimi Hendrix with him. So I love that about him. So, all right, real quick, man, of course, we're going with the Astros, but how many games is this series going to go, Blum?
I think it might go a little bit deeper. I just think it's going to be an offensive battle between these 2 teams. I'm saying Game 6 is when the Astros finally clinch and make that World Series approach, trying to figure out how they're going to win this title this season and just wash away all the naysayers, or just piss everybody off. Who cares?
There you go.
I think they're looking at it either way, but I think it's going to be 6 games, just because you're going to have to try and regroup some of the pitching. But that Boston offense has a chance to explode at any minute.
Yeah, you're right about it. Every win, America gets madder and madder and madder. I'm like, let them get mad. Who cares?
Exactly.
All right, Jeff Blum, man. Blummer, thanks for joining us, man. Great insight as always, man. And I love it. I was out at Game 1. You chugged a beer on the screen. Then you threw out the first pitch on Game 2, man. You're living the life right now, brother.
Oh, yeah, living the dream. The spotlight has found me. Unfortunately, I've stepped up in a couple of instances. Who knew?
Great stuff, man. All right, take care, man. I appreciate you joining us here on Huddle Up. Thanks, brother.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Good seeing you, Bob.
from Jeff Blum. Jeff Blum, the Astros Astros TV analyst and former Astro player. I covered him for 5 years with the Astros. Love catching up with him. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Huddle Up with Bob Slovak and the Consummate Pro. We're going to come back with Sam Kahn from The Athletic. Covers college football from top to bottom. We're going to talk about the Aggies upset of Bama. We're going to talk about UT and that collapse against OU. Sam Kahn from The Athletic here on Huddle Up with Bob Slovak when we come back.
All right, team, your favorite pro here reporting live from the club. Now, look, in order to hit a pure golf shot, we have to do three things. We have to assess, strategize, and execute. And I'm going to tell you, the same three things apply if you're in the market for a loan. Woo! And after absolutely piping one, lucky for us, we have Jake Snortland here to tell us more about it.
Thanks, Jason. That is correct. Here at Triumph Lending, we assess, strategize, and execute in getting our borrowers the best deals possible. So feel free to give me a call. My number is 832-639-1455. And no matter if you're looking to purchase a home or refinance your current mortgage, I can get you the best deal out there today.
That's the golden trifecta for Triumph Lending. Give them a call today.
All right, back here live at Sawyer Park. Huddle Up with Bob Slovak and the Consummate Pro. The Consummate Pro is being a pro today. He's out at Carlton Woods right now. A member guest out there making sure everything's running smoothly. But we're going to hear from him in just a second with the pros picks. You don't want to miss him. He's got 9 this week for you. Always winning more than not. So you can make some money. Now we're going to talk some college football with my good friend Sam Kahn from The Athletic. He covers college football from top to bottom. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good. How are you, Bob?
Doing well. First of all, I assume you were in Kyle Field last weekend, right?
No, I was actually in Dallas at the Red River Shootout.
Ah, okay. Well, you had 2 great games to pick from. Let's talk about the Aggies first of all. Who saw that coming? I mean, really, who saw that coming? Bama was favored by 16, 17 points. Aggies weren't playing well, coming off 2 straight losses. Tell me your impressions of what went on.
Yeah, I was really surprised because just the way that A&M played the previous 2 weeks. Offensively, they really couldn't get anything going heading into the Bama game. And because of their offensive struggles, I didn't give them much of a chance to win. I thought defensively they were good enough to keep it a game for a while, but I didn't foresee this team dropping 41 points on Alabama after the previous 2 weeks. What I really saw was, a really great defensive game plan from Mike Elko early on. They threw a lot of really creative blitz packages at Bryce Young and kept him off balance early. I thought the offensive line played probably its best game all year, which has been a little bit of a struggle for A&M because they've shifted around their linemen so much, but they finally looked like they found a combination that worked. And lastly, Zach Calzada, the quarterback who's filling in for Haynes King, he struggled the last couple of weeks, but he really had a career day. He was accurate. He was poised. He led the team downfield consistently. He moved the ball pretty well, and overall, I did not see that performance coming from him, but boy, what a time to have it.
I'm telling you, Calzada had the game of his life, 21 of 31, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns. You wonder about that. You know, he struggled for 2 games in a row, and it's almost like the coaches got in his ear a little bit and told him to slow the game down. I mean, is that the case sometimes? You get coached up a little bit, and then you can kind of figure it out?
Well, also, it's just reps, too. I mean,
yeah.
the game slows down the more you play, and it's easy to forget that while he's in his 3rd year in the program, that's really only his 3rd or 4th start.
Yeah.
His first start was against New Mexico on September 18th. So this guy has not had a lot of snaps in real games, so to speak, before this year. I mean, he only played a few times in 2019, didn't play at all last year. So I think throwing him into the fire a little bit, this is the choice. I mean, they didn't really have a choice. One King got hurt because Calzada's the only scholarship backup they had. But it takes time to work out some of the kinks, and also with some of the issues they had up front with their offensive line and everything. I think just having some of the reps, and I think also Calzada did a really good job of just shutting all the noise out. You know, there was a lot of criticism of him and his play the last 2 weeks, and I think for him to be able to be focused and and play the way he did speaks volumes of where his head is.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, I'm sure the coaches told him that. Shut off your phone, get off the internet and focus on the game, and it showed. It showed out there. Signature win for Jimbo Fisher, and it's, great to see it happen because he said it. He said, we're going to beat Alabama. And then they do, so it's like that's a good story when it happens, right, Sam?
Yeah, no doubt. I don't think he expected this team to be 3-2 before they went into that game. They were hoping they'd be 5-0 and now 6-0 after this one. But hey, you take it as you can get it, right?
Yeah. So now the big question is there a Bama hangover? They go play at Missouri this weekend, and of course, Jimbo in his presser, he said it a number of times. He goes, it's over. It's over. The Bama game's over. We got to move on. And they got to move on because Missouri's not the greatest team, but they got to go play at Missouri.
Yeah, and it's 11 a.m. kickoff, so it's one of those deals, road game, early game, easy to kind of get lulled to sleep here. They've got to come out quick, I think. A quick start is going to be imperative for this team. I'm curious to see how well they move the ball up front. But I think defensively, as long as they continue to play the way they have defensively all season, that's going to keep them in every single ball game and give them a chance. And I think that's, to me, I think was probably the most impressive part beyond Calzada was how well they played up front, how much of a pass rush they got against Alabama. So if they keep doing that up front, they'll be able to keep some of these games low scoring enough that even if they do hit some bumps in the road offensively, I think they'll be okay.
All right, sounds good. We'll see how they do on the road this coming weekend. All right, Texas OU, you were there. Were you as shocked as everybody else in the stadium that OU came back from 21 points down?
Yes and no, because this is the Red River Shootout. This is the way this game goes. Yeah. There's so many momentum swings. It's emotional. There's a lot that happens. I was, I guess, most surprised by the fact that Lincoln Riley had the guts to make a quarterback change and stick with it. Last year, he pulled Spencer Rattler for a few drives and brought in Tanner Mordecai, but Rattler ended up coming back in the second half and finishing the game. This time, you handed the keys to a true freshman, and that true freshman finished the game. Caleb Williams was unbelievable. And I think if Riley doesn't make that change, then I don't think Oklahoma wins the ball game. I think Texas would have won going away. Yeah. I thought Riley made a great move, and Texas obviously struggled a little bit in the second half. But I still come away thinking that this is a good Texas team. They have some things that they need to shore up, but I think overall Sark still has a pretty good foundation to build off of in Austin.
Yeah, definitely. But this week, man, it doesn't get any easier. Got to take on. Of course, they have it. It's in Austin against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State comes in undefeated, and I mean they have a good team. How do you think Texas responds?
That's going to be interesting, and that's always the key after these games. Kind of like we were talking about with A&M and Bama. You don't want to have a hangover after such an emotional game the week before, and Red River is always that. But Oklahoma State's a really good defensive team. They're only allowing 18 points a game. They've been a stout defensive team. They were the only team this year that's been able to shut Baylor down. Baylor's 5-1 right now. They were able to shut that running game down. I'm curious if they can have the same type of plan to shut Baylor's run game down that they can against Bijan Robinson at Texas. That's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. But Gundy's done a great job with this team. I don't think any of us expected Oklahoma State to be 5-0 at this juncture. And this is a huge game for Texas because if they win this game, then I think they're still firmly in the race for one of those Big 12 title game spots. But if they lose it and they've dropped two in a row in conference, then they're in a little bit of a tough spot.
Yeah, definitely. The one standout player, and he had the bad fumble there toward the end of the game, but Xavier Worthy, 9 catches for 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, really a standout player. And I love the fact that after he made the mistake, he came back and made a big play.
Yeah, and I was surprised that Sarkisian went to him right away. The very first play on the next series, they threw him a quick pass. Then they threw him a deep pass down for about 47 yards. And then, of course, later in the game, he caught the touchdown on their last scoring drive. For a true freshman to have that kind of poise after a mistake like that in the fourth quarter, I think speaks volumes of where he is. And he is a star already in the making for Texas at receiver. He stretched the field vertically, and he's going to be a big-time weapon for Casey Thompson the rest of the season. Real big-time player for them. Yeah, that was fun to see. I had a great – you were at the game covering the game, but I was hitting golf balls, and technology is so great these days. I had the game on my phone sitting on my golf bag. I'd hit a shot, watch the next play. Hit a shot, watch the next play. I was having a great afternoon, man. What a great second half. It was incredible. It was incredible. All right, real quick.
U of H is off this week, Sam, but they've kind of got things in line now and got on a roll a little bit. What do you see in U of H right now?
I tell you, this is a really talented defense. They are playing fast and physical. That defensive line, I was impressed with the way they've been able to pressure opposing quarterbacks. Against Tulane, they had 8 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Doug Belk, the new defensive coordinator, is just doing a masterful job with that group. They're fast. They're deep on defense. And Clayton Tune has really played well ever since that opener. He had a rough go against Texas Tech. But, man, once he got healthy after having that little hamstring injury, he's been able to play really well. He's making good decisions with the ball. He's getting the ball to all the different playmakers. And the running game has been pretty good. Alton McCaskill, a true freshman, from Oak Ridge, he's been a fantastic addition to this offense. Overall, I see a team that's playing really well. They're surging right now. I think the off week comes at a really good time. And then they've got 2 really big games. I think Eastern Carolina coming. And then they've got the big game against SMU on October 30th. If that's going to be a huge one with SMU being undefeated right now.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy for the Cougars. I teach a class out at U of H, so I'm a Cougar now. I teach broadcast writing out there, so I'm so glad that they're getting it together and on a roll. Where are you going to be this weekend, Sam?
I will be in Austin for Texas and Oklahoma State.
Okay, that's a great game to be at. Tell everybody again where they can see your work and how they can read what's going on.
On theathletic.com, our college football page, you'll find all my stuff there, and on Twitter at SConJr.
Awesome, man. Good talking to you, Sam. Good catching up with you. Always great insight, man. I thank you again for joining me here on Huddle Up, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Bob.
All right, Sam. Take care, my man. All right. So before we take a break here, I want to make sure my producer, Zach, knows this. Zach, I want to go to our player of the week. He is Conroe senior quarterback, Clayton Garlock. He had a huge game and a win over Oak Ridge last weekend. A big game here. And Jason Alexander, he went out, caught up with Clayton Garlock, our Huddle Up Spotlight High School Player of the Week.
All right, team, welcome to the High School Spotlight Player of the Week presented by Conroe Golf Cars. We've got none other than senior QB here for the Conroe Tigers, Clayton Garlock. We're also going to be joined by head coach Cedric Hardiman. But first, let's take a look at a few highlights from Clayton. All right, Huddle Up fans, Consummate Pro here reporting live from Conroe, Texas, Moorhead Stadium. Here with Coach Hardiman and our High School Player of the Week, Clayton Garlock. Coach, I want to start off with you here. Couple questions. Big win versus Oak Ridge, 44-41 last Friday night. First win in about 8 years versus those boys. What does that kind of mean for the program and heading into the second half of the season?
It's huge. I just got finished telling the seniors. It's a big opportunity to do something that a lot of senior classes hadn't done in the last 8 years. And so, it's indicative of the work that we put in. We try to pride ourselves on the preparation and building good habits. And the kids have done that. So I was just happy for them to get the outcome for the work that they put in prior to the game.
Absolutely. Clayton Garlock, QB1, senior. What are your thoughts on Clayton here? 4th year playing here for the Tigers.
Clayton's a part of my first senior class, so I've had him since he was a freshman. Kid got a lot of moxie, a lot of swagger to him. He was, able to get a lot of playing time last year and took advantage of it and went in this offseason and became a leader. And so, I'm excited for him. What everybody really doesn't see is just the preparation that he does on his own and how he goes out there and as a gamer. The stage is never too big for him. And so, the performance that he put on the other night, I wasn't surprised, but I'm glad everybody else got a chance to see what I already knew.
Coach, thank you so much. Stay here with us. Speaking of that performance on Friday night, 330, 2 tutties through the air, 2 more on the ground, hit 7 different receivers. Clayton, how did it all come together for you on Friday night?
It just goes hand with the week we had. We had a great week, 2 weeks of preparation coming into the game with the bye week, and then it's just doing what we did those couple of days that we had.
All right, let's get to know Clayton here just a little bit, okay? Free time, when you're not throwing lasers here on the football field, studying game tape, being respectful to coach, what are you doing in your free time?
Cutting grass.
Do you do any fishing?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you catch anything?
Catch a couple.
That a baby, I love that. All right, favorite sports movie here, favorite sports movie?
Gonna have to go with Remember the Titans.
Woo, can't go wrong with a little Denzel. There ain't no doubt about that. All right, I need to know a favorite throw. Do you have a favorite throw with your career here in Conroe?
Yes, sir. Last Friday, I got the chance to get out of the pocket and hit one of my receivers. We call him Bill for his first varsity touchdown.
Absolutely fantastic. Last question here, guys. Coach, I'll turn back to you. 5-1, Grand Oak Grizzlies coming up this Friday. What do we have to do to get above 500 here in Conroe?
We got to come and prepare. You know, we took advantage yesterday. Not having school, kids came up early. We go from 7 to 10. Came today and prepared, and we just control what we could control. You know, Coach Jackson's done a great job with that team. They're 5-1 for a reason. Very talented, well coached, aggressive, and so we're gonna have to play our best. We're gonna have to play better than we did Friday to give ourselves the opportunity to be successful Thursday night.
Absolutely love it. Clayton, any parting words here for all the Huddle Up fans representing the Conroe Tigers here?
Y'all make sure y'all tune in on Thursday.
Is it Sick'em Tigers?
Sick'em Tigers.
Absolutely. Consummate Pro here, reporting live from Conroe, Texas. All right, everybody knows here in Conroe, Texas, there are only 3 words that matter. All right, Huddle Up fans, I'm going to call a 20-second timeout and give you a hot take from the Consummate Pro. Whether cruising around the neighborhood with a beverage of choice, wanting to get some Hot Wheels for your vacation home, or looking to style and profile on the golf course. And hey guys, at the end of the day, chicks just dig them. It's time to get your own personalized golf cart right here at Conroe Golf Cars. And lucky for us today, we've got City Councilman Kurt Maxx here to tell us a little bit more about it.
Hey guys, look at all our inventory here. We've got lots of inventory. Everything's on sale at Conroe Golf Cars and Golf Cars of Conroe. If you need a cocktail car, you need a hunting cart, you need a 4-passer, or you need one on the golf course, always remember, if you get to your ball first, you'll never have a bad life.
Kurt, that's the best advice I've heard in a long time. Come see us today at Conroe Golf Cars.
We're back here live at Sawyer Park Ice House in the Woodlands. You're watching Bob Slovak and Jason Alexander, the Consummate Pro. This is Huddle Up. Thanks for being with us, man. We've had a big show tonight. We've had Jeff Blum, Astros TV announcer, former player, talking about the Astros Red Sox ALCS coming up. Game 1 tomorrow night. I'll be there. We just had Sam Kahn giving us the breakdown on the Aggies and UT and the Cougars as we move forward in the college season. Now it's time for our final segment, the Pros Picks. We welcome him back in now, the Consummate Pro, Jason Alexander, live from Carlton Woods, where they're having a big member guest tonight. Jason, you there?
I'm here, Bob. Can y'all hear us okay? We got a few people over here. Can we say we love Huddle Up, baby? Let's say we're going to make a little noise. Woo! That a baby. Hey, we're ready to go. Rock and roll here at Carlton Woods, Bob. And before that, we got 9 picks. We got 9 winners here tonight. Looking to go 9-0 for all the fans of Huddle Up.
I want to see you go 9-0, and I hope the fans of Huddle Up, the millions and millions, take a listen and use some of this advice. All right, let's start with Kent State against Western Michigan. Kent State getting 7. You're going to go with Kent State.
You know, Bob, they owe us a little bit of money after that first week 1 debacle against A&M. Andrew Glass, the kicker, missing the 2 short field goals.
Yeah.
Kent State owes us one. I expect them to pull an upset against Western Michigan. I think they went out right. Let's take the 7 just to be safe.
Army, Wisconsin. You're going to go ahead and go with Army. They're getting 14. I think that's a pretty good bet.
Well, I bet more against Wisconsin being really bad rather than Army being very good. Catching 14 points, you got to ride them. And look, this is kind of a service weekend here, Bob, because we're going to play Army in our next one, Air Force. We're going to double up on them. Army and Air Force, plus 14, plus 7, Air Force against Boise State. Book them both and salute.
Yeah, salute the military. He's going with the military twosome right there. Army getting 14, Air Force getting 7. There you go. All right.
Sorry, hang on real quick. Hey, Mill, tell them to turn that off real quick. Give me 2 minutes. Sorry, we had a little audio problem here. Okay, now we're back.
You're trying to do 3 jobs at once, my man. All right, Iowa State taking on Kansas State. You're going to go ahead and give the 6.5 and take Iowa State.
One little caveat to this, make sure you get them at 6.5. I don't like it as much at 7. If it grows to 7.5, it's a no play. Get them under a touchdown. I don't think K-State's that good. I think Iowa State is really about to push that pedal a little bit, moving towards the second half of the season. I like them a bunch in this spot. I think they win by 7-13, but make sure you catch it under 7 points.
All right, one of the better games, I think, on the slate tomorrow, BYU Baylor. You know, that sounds like a good matchup. BYU, you're going to take the Cougars and go ahead and give the 6.5.
BYU, it was a rainy game last week, wet footballs. They played their worst game of the year. BYU has a lot of talent. They have a better roster than Baylor. I'm going to ride that just a little bit. I think the Storm and Mormons come back in a big way this Saturday. I think they win by 2 touchdowns over Baylor.
Speaking of 2 touchdowns, Texas Tech giving 16 to Kansas. You got the Red Raiders rolling in this one.
Well, they look so great. That was one of our easy wins last week against the Horny Frogs of Fort Worth at TCU. Tech looked good. Look, Kansas is a very poor football team. If Texas Tech, when they have the opportunity to run up the score a little bit, Bob, you know they always do. So I like Tech to win about 60-24. I think this is going to be a laugher and at one of our easier covers on Saturday. I'm
trying to figure out why Cleveland. We're going to the NFL now. Why is Cleveland favored by 3 over Arizona?
These are the golden nuggets that I love to see because the public is going to be all over Arizona, Kyler Murray, the undefeated Cardinals. How can Cleveland be given 3 to the Cardinals?
That's what I'm saying.
There's a reason why.
Why?
The public is usually wrong, and Cleveland's going to ground and pound. Look, Cleveland's lost 2 games this year. That was one of our losses last week against the Chargers. They're up 7 with 3 minutes to go. They just didn't close the game out. I expect Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I think they're going to pound the living crap out of the Cardinals defense, and maybe a couple timely interceptions over Kyler Murray, and ride Cleveland to the ticket counter and book it.
Yeah, they're the only undefeated team left, I believe, and I don't think they're going to make it through the season, so they're going to lose it.
Well, they're not, Bob. They're not going to make it through Sunday.
You're getting that from the consummate pro right there. I love it. I love it. All right, Bears getting 4.5 against the Packers. You're going with the Bears. I liked how the Bears played last week.
They look great against Vegas. The defense is really rounding into form. Justin Fields didn't just make a couple plays, no mistakes. I like them to just really spring an upset possibly over the Packers. The Packers have been kind of cruising along a little bit. I don't think they've looked that great.
Yeah.
I think the Bears defense is going to give Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams a little bit of trouble on Sunday. So I think it's going to be a close game. The Packers might win and they might cover, but it's going to be within a 7-point game. You got to take the points in this spot and see if we can stay within the 4.5, but I like the play.
It's a divisional game, so we know it's going to be a slugfest. All right, Minnesota, Carolina, pick 'em. You're going with the Vikings. Why?
This is one of my favorite plays on Sunday, probably my top play. Sam Darnold, I watched the entire Carolina-Philadelphia game last week. Carolina, I had him not on Huddle Up, but one of my plays. Sam Darnold started seeing ghosts again. You remember last year with the Jets, he started seeing ghosts. They appeared again in the second half against Philly. I think he's going to get rattled. I think those first 2 games were a little bit of an aberration. I really like Minnesota's defense. I love Greg Zimmer. And I think the Vikings D is going to pick off Sam Darnold 3 times and win by 7.
All right, there's your picks right there. Again, we'll recap them real quick. College picks, Kent State getting 7. He's going with Kent. Army, Air Force, he's going with the military. Iowa State giving up 6.5 to Kansas State, but he likes the Cyclones. BYU giving up 6.5 to Baylor. He's going to go ahead and stick with the Cougars. The pro picks, he's going with the Browns, the Bears, and Minnesota. All right, mark them down. Make some money with the pro. Jason, man, you have a great night there tonight. The member guests out there, Carlton Woods, man, thanks for joining us. Of course, I like you here next to me, but you have a good time. We'll have you back here next week. We got a big show next week, folks. Tell them who we got on next week, Jason.
Well, Bob, I would say you talk about a loaded show. We'll be back live at Sawyer Park. Can't wait to have a cocktail, talk sports with you, and none other than former Astros manager and current Detroit Tigers manager, A.J. Hinch, will be joining us on Huddle Up. Can't wait.
Can't wait to talk to the skipper, man. We're going to love that. That's next week here, Thursday night. Come out and see us live here at Sawyer Park if you can. If not, you can see it on Huddle Up with Bob Slovak on the Facebook page. We got a Twitch channel. We got it on Instagram. We got it all on Maxx Sports TV, all of the apps. So join us here live. For Jason Alexander, I'm Bob Slovak. Thanks for joining us here on Huddle Up. We will see you next week.